Today we're taking a look at these NCAAB matches, which are happening on Thursday, November 17, 2022, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. By becoming a member of the High Stakes Patreon, you will have access to our best team picks, total picks, parlay picks and much more. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Going back to our video, we will give you 2 betting picks for each game, a team pick and a total pick based on facts and detailed explanation. So make sure to watch our videos till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Creighton Blue Jays vs UC Riverside Highlanders. Creighton is favored by 18 points in this contest and with good reason. While the Highlanders looked good in their victory over Loyola-Marymount, there is no denying that the Blue Jays are one of the top teams in the country. They beat St. Thomas in their opening contest by 12, then crushed North Dakota by 35, before pounding Holy Cross by 29. They have no problem keeping their foot on the gas as contests go along. The Highlanders were held to 66 points in a 16-point loss to Colorado on November 7. While the Buffaloes have a quality team, they are no match for the Blue Jays, and this is an indication that Creighton will likely win this game by at least 20. UC Riverside is allowing 80.5 points per game. Look for 90 from Creighton in this contest. Take the Creighton Blue Jays at -18. I am leaning towards the over in this game, as that has been the winning pick in 4 of Creighton's last 5 games, and all 6 of the Highlanders' last 6 road games. The Blue Jays have scored 94 points and 96 points, respectively, in their last 2 games, and they will flirt with triple digits again against a UCR team that gave up 79 points in their last game. The Highlanders scored 81 points in their last game, but they will not put up a high total or shoot the rock well facing Creighton, who has won their last 2 games in blowouts. Even though that the case, the over is the pick for this non-conference affair, as Creighton will light up the scoreboard for the 3rd game in a row. Take the over 140.5 points. Minnesota vs Central Michigan. The Central Michigan Chippewas are targeting a 2nd consecutive win. They dropped the season opener in an ugly 97-73 decision in a matchup that had CMU labeled as 18-point dogs. The Chippewas countered that one by shelling Eastern Illinois by a decisive 76-60 score on Sunday to cover the 7.5-point spread. Central Michigan struggled last year and is in more of another rebuilding season with several new players. The Chips have a good player in Kevin Miller. The sophomore guard had a marvelous freshman season where he accrued an average of 13.1 ppg and is lighting up the scoreboard so far, accumulating 37 points on a dazzling 65% mark from the field. Miller already has logged 13 assists. Jesse Zarzuela is in his first season at CMU after enjoying a productive year with Coppin State. The junior guard logged 14.7 ppg last year and has produced 26 points in his first 2 games this season on 39% shooting. Brian Taylor has come up just short of a double-double in 2 games. The 6'6" senior guard had 15 points and 9 boards against Marquette and 8 points and 13 boards in Sunday's victory. The Minnesota Golden Gophers are looking to rebound from their first defeat of the young season. The first 2 opponents were quite easy, beating Western Michigan by a narrow 61-60 score, followed by a home win against St. Francis Brooklyn. Monday's defeat was notable. Minnesota was a 1-point favorite in a rough 69-53 home loss against DePaul of the Big East. The Gophers have only covered in 1 of their 3 games. Dawson Garcia continues to excel early this season. The sophomore forward has scored at least 19 points in 2 of 3 games and is sporting an average of 17.7 ppg and 7 rpg. Talon Cooper has reached double digits in 2 of 3 clashes. The junior guard transferred from Morehead State and should provide needed offense. Cooper already has 22 assists. Jaden Henley only managed 4 points in Monday's defeat. The freshman forward scored 16 in the win against SFNY. Unfortunately, Minnesota has yet to play with last year's scoring leader Jamison Battle due to a foot injury. He is questionable. Central Michigan is shooting a stellar 47% from the field in 2 games. The Chippewas have a potent scorer, Kevin Miller, who is hot early, sinking 37 points in 2 games. Minnesota had an inferior opponent against Western Michigan in the season opener and only won that game by 1 point and lost by a whopping 16 points at home against DePaul on Monday. Furthermore, the Chippewas' rebounding has been a bright spot. They were even at 35-35 in rebounding against Marquette and collected a remarkable 49 boards against Eastern Illinois. The Chips are only scoring 6.7 fewer points per 100 possessions than the Golden Gophers, making this spread more than reasonable. Take the Central Michigan Chippewas plus 14 points. These teams aren't known for shooting from deep, they are known for moving the ball around and driving to the basket and playing in the paint considering the height they have underneath. Minnesota's forward is averaging 17.7 points per game, and I expect them to take full advantage of his play in the paint this matchup. They are averaging 62 points per game while allowing 61, so I don't see this being a high-scoring affair. Central Michigan will be stopped by the Minnesota defense, especially with Miller being their only high-caliber scorer. I expect the Chippewas to move the ball around a lot to find openings, rather than forcing openings. This will be a game that comes down to who can make their free throws and 2-point shots. Take the under 140 points. Tulsa vs Loyola-Chicago. The Ramblers are off to a perfect start to the season after winning their first 2 games. They will try to keep the momentum going with a win over the Golden Hurricane, which will give them their 3rd win in a row. Loyola-Chicago is averaging 79 points per game through their first 2 games. They scored 70 points in their last game, making 55.1% of their field goals and 14.3% of their 3-pointers. Philip Alston led the Ramblers with 18 points and 7 rebounds. Ben Schweiger finished with 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists, while Tom Welch added 13 points and 4 rebounds. Loyola-Chicago has played well defensively, giving up 72.5 points per game. They gave up 63 points in their last game and will need a similar effort if they want to get the win. The Golden Hurricane split their first 2 games. Even though they scored a lot of points, they didn't shoot the ball well, especially from 3-point range, with the team making less than 40% of their 3-pointers. They don't rebound the ball as well as the Ramblers and won't get a lot of extra scoring opportunities against them. They've also been careless with the ball, which will be a problem against the Ramblers, who are averaging 9 steals per game. With the Ramblers holding their first 2 opponents to 40% shooting from the field, expect the Golden Hurricane to struggle offensively in this game. The Ramblers won their first 2 games, and they're also playing well offensively, scoring more than 75 points per game on 50% shooting from the field. They do a good job finding the open man, and they're very aggressive on the offensive glass, which will lead to more scoring opportunities. The Golden Hurricane have struggled defensively this season, giving up at least 73 points in 2 straight games, and will have a hard time slowing down the Ramblers, so go with Loyola-Chicago to cover the spread. The Ramblers picked up an 88-82 win over Fairleigh Dickinson in their season opener, as junior guard Sheldon Edwards hit a buzzer-beater jump shot from the key to send the game to overtime. The junior guard finished with 19 points and 5 rebounds. Loyola shot 46.3% from the floor, but missed 28 3-point attempts, 22.23 PT%, and turned the ball over 18 times. The Ramblers did win the rebounding battle versus the Knights and assisted on 21 of their 31 made baskets. Edwards hit the key shot, but Loyola also benefited from good showings by senior forward Tom Welch, 15 points and 15 rebounds, and senior guard Braden Norris, 14 points and 5 assists. The over is my pick for Loyola-Chicago versus Tulsa, as both of these teams are basically top 50 in terms of pace of play, with the Ramblers averaging 79.0 team possessions per game and the Golden Hurricane averaging 77.0 per game. It's a significant change in pace for both squads, as Loyola averaged 67.9 last season, 287th nationally, and Tulsa averaged 69.0, 246th. The over is also 5-0 in Tulsa's last 5 overall. Take the over 140.5 total points scored.